cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off in the fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
What up, everybody? What's up, JT? How you doing today?
How's it going? I'm doing good today, Jay. How you doing?
Very well. It's Friday. Fridays are my favorite day. Fridays and Sundays, actually. But yeah.
Check and see if it was the 13th or not. Just making sure.
If it was, I'd be having to do a Friday the 13th marathon, man.
Right.
I'm a horror.
Me too.
I do horror conventions and all that stuff. So I love that. And good, happy Friday to everybody, folks. That's rolling in here. Today we're talking about Sade Robinson. And I'm glad we're doing so because you know what, JT? I just realized not very many people are covering that case at all.
Shame.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's important because not only just for Sade, but other possible victims that there might be with this guy.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because we're gonna actually play that. I have a clip about that, a potential victim that may be actually tied to the case, and we're gonna talk about maybe Maxwell Anderson, maybe the next Jeffrey Dahmer, and this young lady has been missing for a year. Very similar circumstances in Milwaukee. So I'm glad you said that. So yeah, I was scouring the internet and I was like, wow, it's so limited on the people that are covering the case now that the gruesome, they covered it when it was like, oh, body parts in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm looking and I'm just not seeing many people cover it and I don't know why.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here on the crime scene,
Yep. So for those of you that know or don't know, this is JT and he's on the crime scene. A lot of times he's boots on the ground. And I think that's a very good name for somebody that does boots on the ground work and is on YouTube. So JT from the crime scene, go check him out. And I'm going to say hello to Bouncer. What's up? Everybody, don't forget, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please do. Yes, definitely hit the like. I like the Portuguese wifey. She was a new member. She just came on. So shout her out. Yes, another monster. What's up, Monica? Sadie's mama. I'm glad you're doing better today. There's a lot of people that are coming here today. That's nice. Miracle Hearts, Kim Princess, the Bishop, Amy. We see you here. Giselle. So yeah, we want to shout out to everybody as you guys all roll in. I like to always talk for a second so we can let people roll in. They don't say, wait, what did we miss?
Laddie said the Jays collab for justice. I like it.
Exactly. We definitely want justice, and that's why we're here. Yeah. So I mean, what do you want to talk about anything you want to say about what we're talking about today, and then I can throw up the first video I want to show everybody.
Well, I just want to say we're going to be talking about today about her father. One of the things we're talking about is how her father's looking for Sade's remains, and I just can't imagine being a parent and walking up and down the beach looking for my child's remains. So I just wanted to put my heart out there for him if he'd ever watch this, and thoughts to him because that's got to be tough. So just hang in there.
And he might watch it because there are not a lot of people covering it, JT, and especially you're right there. You said you want to go out there and do some sort of search as well, right? You're like 8 miles from that area.
Yeah, I'm not too far from that area, so yeah, I can definitely see what right now. The thing I have booked right now is for Elijah Vu, but I can also see if nothing's been found because unfortunately, I do think they're still looking for her head.
Yes, and that is that is very difficult in the coming days of the memorial, and that's what's prompting him to right now get out there and look for. And it's so sad to say a father's looking for his daughter's head. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I, the strength the guy has, just to get up that day and put on your shoes and get out the door and go do it. And
I hear
he
you.
um like he ever saw this day coming, like who could ever.
No, you can't. Not only that, but in the circumstances of it. I mean, a lot of times you're looking for a body, but this is outrageous when you hear them saying, "Well, we just found a torso or a foot, or we're still looking for her head." I mean, absolutely outrageous, ludicrous, disgusting. And this Maxwell Anderson is a monster. So I'm gonna play. I have a clip. It's about 4 minutes. So for anybody that comes in that's new, it's just a quick timeline of what happened with Sade Robinson's disappearance and a little recap so that you guys know what we're talking about. All right. So let's put that up and then we will roll with the rest of everything else that we have today. And yeah, we are. I am really glad you brought that up about the. Hold on, let me see what happens here. If my screen changes, okay, it's perfect. Yeah, let's help the parents find justice and the body part. Sadly, all right. Let's see that what the timeline quick.
We're working to learn
Quickly.
more information about the disappearance of Sade Robinson and the possible connection to those human remains that have been found across the area over the last 10 days. Since Sade went missing, her family has been asking for donations for search.
I also wanted to show this and stop on it for a second because there is a GoFundMe for the family, folks. So if you can, obviously, only if you have means, that you can see the GoFundMe right there. It says hashtag justice for Sade, our fallen angel. So make sure you go to the right one because people are so awful. They'll put things up that aren't real.
Yeah.
So have you seen that yet? Have you? This is the
Oh, I
first
didn't
time
know
I've
there
seen the
was a
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe yet, so I'm glad you put that out there. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the one that will help the family out. And thank you all for being here, Juror 13. I honestly think my heart would fail if that happened to one of your grandkids or anybody you even knew. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I think somebody, even if it was a family member or a friend that happened to their child, I don't know how I'd feel about that. And
Harsh.
Bouncer's right. It's hard to believe that evil like that exists in this world, you know. Um, Jeffrey Dahmer's proof of it, and that's why the case to me, as soon as I saw this, related to Jeffrey Dahmer because that was one of the first serial killers that I ever studied, and I was real young. I was probably about 9 when I read that book, and I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't fathom what I was reading, and then I knew evil existed like that. So,
Yeah.
all
It's
right, let's play this. Yeah, it is. But we have to let people know that it is real and you have to be safe. Was this a dating app? Do you know, JT? Do you know if they met on a dating app or
I'm not that I don't think has been said yet, but it I met my wife on a dating app, so but I also didn't, we didn't I didn't follow her to her house, she didn't follow me to mine. We parted ways after
right?
dinner, after I went for the kiss, obviously. Um, but yeah, you gotta practice safety out there, like and then let family members know where you're gonna be, how long you're gonna be. That way, if you're out of that time frame, red flags go up. So,
Right. And it doesn't matter where you meet. Yeah, Kim Princess, they might have met at work because he was accessible. He had a lot of access to people working at that restaurant. So if they did, either way, she went home with him and somehow he talked her into it. So Yeah, you just got to be careful, ladies, gentlemen, everybody. Eileen, thank you. Came on, recommended. Thank you for subbing to JT. He does care. He is a
Oh,
man that cares.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. You guys are awesome. And yes, Tour 13, we know Taylor Shabusiness and the head in the bucket. That had to be terrible to walk down in your basement, lift up a thing that you think's an animal inside of a bucket, and it's your son's head.
It's your
Like I
son.
can't even, I can't even fathom that case.
Mm.
Paulette, no more men for me.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hey, it's not just men. It's Taylor Shabusiness did that too. So it's men and women, you know.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately, yeah, and she idolized Dahmer, so
she did. She was a Dahmer fangirl, which is awful. So that, yeah, that ties all of these cases in. And, that's what the true crime community is. We're trying to bring justice for people and awareness, and we'd love to help change laws while we're at it. So that's what we're here for. Some people are in it for the shock factor, but that's not what I'm here for. And neither is JT. All right, let's listen to this.
Search efforts. Today, the GoFundMe says the money will be used for memorial expenses. So far, law enforcement has not confirmed Sade's death or connected her to the body parts that have been found or the person in custody in all this. Maxwell Anderson, our Janiah walks us through a timeline since Sade went missing.
The story begins on Monday, April 1st. That's when 19-year-old Sade Robinson was first reported missing. On Tuesday, April 2nd, family says Sade's car was found torched here near 30th and Lisbon on Milwaukee's north side. That same day,
just really brings into question what is wrong with people. It's heinous.
A severed leg was found here at Warnemont Park in Cudahy, 11 miles from Sade's burned car. On Thursday, April 4th, our crews found Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputies searching a home on Oklahoma and 39th Street. That same day, Maxwell Anderson was taken into custody and identified as a person of interest in relation to the severed leg found in Cudahy. Now, this is where things take another disturbing turn. Friday, April 5th, sheriff's deputies found more body parts near where I'm standing at 30th and Lisbon, the same location where Sade's car was found set on fire. On Saturday, April 6th, Sade's family searched that same area and found her blanket.
It's devastating because when we came to look for her, we weren't coming looking for body parts. We were just coming to look for her.
Milwaukee police came out to search again and found even more human remains. Now it's Sunday, April 7th. Sade's family comes back to search and finds human remains yet again.
I want answers because I need to know why somebody would want to do this to her.
Let's go back to Maxwell Anderson for a second. While he has not been charged with a crime, we're naming him because of the nature of the allegations. On Tuesday, April 9th, Anderson went before a Milwaukee County judge where prosecutors asked for an extension to keep him behind bars. That extension was granted. The same night, family and friends of Sade's went back to Warnemont Park in Cudahy to search the area.
She looked out for my baby. The least I could do was look out for her mama's baby.
They say they found what they believe to be body parts, but that the sheriff's office needed to investigate further. It's now Thursday, April 11th, 11 days since Sade went missing. The sheriff's office is leading the investigation, but our phone calls and emails have gone unanswered. The DA's office confirmed charges are likely not coming today. Sade's mom tells me that once charges are filed, she plans to sit down and talk with us. I'm Jenna Ray for TMJ4 News.
Law enforcement back out this afternoon searching along the Lake Michigan shoreline at Warnemont Park in Cudahy. Again, this is the place where that severed leg was found and all this began. It's also where the family of missing Milwaukee woman Sade Robinson has been searching for clues. No word on what this group of officers were looking for.
Wow. All right. Well, that gives you a really good, or that gives us all a really good idea of, now we can put the pieces together. No pun intended, folks. I didn't. Sometimes, I got to make jokes, and I didn't mean to make that one, but yeah, no pun intended. We see now, because look, as we were watching this case, we were piecing it together, and I would see it. They found a leg at the park. They found a torso here, and so that kind of gives us a good idea for those of you that don't know about this case or that are catching up. We need to get this case out there more. They need more coverage for this case. And I think that we need to probably treat Maxwell Anderson like he is a serial killer. I don't see how he pulled that off without knowing what he was doing.
Yeah,
And
who else's blood? I still want to know. There's some things that haven't come out yet, so I want to know who else's blood was in his house.
Yeah, Giselle. I think he was 33, they said, and she was 19. So you're close. The age, she was a baby. To me, that's a baby. He absolutely preyed on her.
Absolutely.
All right. So the next clip I have, we're gonna talk about. This is where we're here. Mm, Hold on, sorry about that. So we're gonna watch Sade Robinson's father search for the remains first, and then I have some Nancy Grace, just a little bit, and then we're gonna talk about if we think that he's a serial killer and if the other missing woman from a year ago, very similar circumstances, may be tied to Maxwell Anderson. We may have a serial killer on our hands, everybody. Why would he do that to her? Why did Jeffrey Dahmer do that? Why did Taylor Schabusiness do that? Why did Eileen Warnos do that? Why did any of these people? I don't know. That's why we study them, right? It's fascinating. It's just fascinating in the way of how can we figure out who's like that and who's not.
Mm-hmm. Is there a way to tell?
We've tried. I mean, people, the science community, they use Jeffrey Dahmer's brain. The dad let him, and they really can't find anything so far that would show the difference.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't know what we can do other than be careful, everybody. I'm gonna put this one up. I think it's actually ready to go, and let's
Be careful,
watch.
especially when the ladies are jogging. You're supposed to only jog with one
Oh,
earbud in, because if you have two earbuds in, you don't hear someone coming up behind you or something. So if you're ever jogging, ladies, jog with one earbud in, leave the other one out.
and try to switch up your routine a bit because these predators are watching out for you, and you can't tell who the evil is that lives amongst us, but they follow your routine, so be careful. That's I can get into a whole episode on that. All right, let's get.
More than a month after she was found dead and dismembered, the search is still on for the rest of Sade Robinson's remains.
Fox 6's Bria Jones spoke with Robinson's father tonight, who's looking for his daughter ahead of her memorial service.
In each wave, Carlos Robinson gets a glimpse of hope.
Just hopeful that I'll find her. Her life flashes before me from an infant to now.
The soothing sounds of Lake Michigan can't calm his yearning to find the remaining body parts of his daughter, Sade Robinson.
I don't want to find her, but I know I have to find her. So it's an internal conflict.
Late Tuesday night, he arrived in Milwaukee from Florida. His first stop, Warnemont Park in Cudahy, where 19-year-old Robinson's severed leg was found the day after she disappeared in early April.
How does it feel to be here today in Warnemont Park?
I could feel her just since I've been here, retracing her steps.
Authorities say Robinson was killed and mutilated while on a first date with 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson. He's now charged with homicide.
Evil. This was definitely a demonic spirit to do this.
Robinson's car was found torched and body parts were later found across Milwaukee County. Technology also leading detectives to Anderson's home.
Did you go to Maxwell Anderson's home?
No, they told me don't go there. So I'm trying not to go there.
Why? Who said not to go there?
The authorities.
Despite not having all of her remains, Sade Robinson's family is preparing to celebrate her life this Friday on what would have been her 20th birthday.
She will always.
So that means we're talking about today, JT. They're going to be doing that today.
3 to 6 p.m. today. So about the next hour and 10 minutes, they'll still be doing that.
Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's what brought me to do this today. And I don't want to let this die down. When I see that there's not a lot of coverage, I don't want to let it die down. So maybe next week we can play the memorial if there's footage and kind of talk about it a little more. Hopefully some more things come out, whether they find the body parts or not. Her family still needs closure in some sense, right? I mean,
absolutely. And that
if you're
her body would be closure. Finding the rest of her body would be closure.
It would be, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and I think people need to learn to, have the closure with what they do have. And there's a good example with Brian Koberger's victims, and one of the family members, or one of the kids that was taken from them, has a twin brother, and those people are so religious and spiritual. And if you see the way that they've are moving forward with it and just having faith in God. It's beautiful. They planted flowers, a sunflower, like a whole garden, and just the way they're doing it's just beautiful, It's all perspective. You can move on without having the body. It's just in your mind, in your heart, and in your spirit. You don't want to demise yourself. So that's what I like to tell people as well, because you don't want to wreck your life. Your child would want you to keep surviving. So, all right, let's watch this guy.
Live forever within me, regardless.
In Milwaukee County, Bria Jones, Fox 6 News.
By the way, if you'd like to help the family, a group will be gathering at Warnemount Park near the pump house at 10 tomorrow morning to keep searching. Details for Robinson's memorial service can be found on our website, fox6now.com.
All right. Yeah, the local news stations are covering it, but there's just not enough, not enough content, not enough knowledge about Maxwell or anything else.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I wonder, sometimes some cases get more coverage than others, and I always wonder why, like what prompts it. Look in the beginning. All I could find now are the coverages of body parts found everywhere. And yeah, I hope it doesn't die down. Okay, there it is. Thank you, Crime.
Maybe I'll see if there's any searches this weekend.
Yeah, that would be great if you check that out. Maybe they get some coverage of that just to keep it out there. Thank you, Crime. To remember, you're right. Ethan was a triplet. It was Ethan that was a triplet, and his family with the Brian Koberger case. If you could take a page out of their book for people that are suffering and don't have closure, and just look at the parents and how they know that they have to be strong for the other children, and they're doing a beautiful job of believing in God and just spirituality. So I just want people to remember that, because I don't want them to mentally decline because of that. Maybe they may never find the rest of her body.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But we hope so, of course. All right, now to this clip. Let me share this one. Let me put up and share it. I've got to clean up my downloads. That's the trick, JT. Download them first so you don't get that spinning. Yeah. I didn't learn that for a while. All right, here we go. Probably be loud.
When you heard her blanket, her little pet tribute blanket had been found, what went through your mind?
All of this is incomprehensible. As I don't understand how the community, and I appreciate everything that they're doing, how they can find a blanket that was already searched in an area that was already searched by the authorities. But just evidence after evidence.
Was it, Mr. Robinson? Had that area been thoroughly searched by authorities? Because it's my understanding volunteers found body parts as well.
Now, let me just tell you, Davey, real quick, because I appreciate you so much. The new thing on this case is the dad is searching, and he's searching in preparation for the memorial that's happening tonight. And we want to put this out to light, and we want them to find the rest of her body parts. So no, they haven't found it, but there will be a memorial tonight. So that's what we're talking about here today. So we don't want to let it die down, Davey. All right.
Right. Yeah, I talked to the police after the blanket was found, and I asked them why they didn't find it, because they told me they searched that area previously. So I don't know how they searched it and didn't see that. I don't know if it's limited resources or what. I don't feel like it's a lot of real effort being put trying to find her. I've been here since 11 o'clock last night. I haven't been to sleep. I've been to the parks. I've been all over with flashlights, binoculars, and I just don't feel like I can sleep. I just want to find her, But I don't feel like it's an effort that there should be I don't feel like they're doing the effort that they need to do to find her. Using the resources, whatever they have to do, to find my baby girl.
Mr. Robinson, what are you looking for? You've been there since 11 o'clock.
And I'll stop it before we say that. What do you think he's looking for? Do you think he actually is looking for a specific part, JT, or is he just looking for anything?
I think he's looking for her head.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like he's probably lays down and
tough. You don't want to, as much as he wants to find it and lay her to rest, you don't want to find it because that's a face you've seen smile at you many, many times, and it's a face you've kissed, you've taken care of, and then that would just be floating there. It's disgusting.
absolutely. I think he's he just doesn't know what to do. He lays down at night, can't sleep, and anything that he can do is what he's doing. I don't know the cops in that area. Like, I haven't heard anything good or bad about them, but I do know that there's a high crime rate in that area. So I feel like maybe they're, taking out on they're doing other things, and the resources are very, very low for her particularly. And that's sad. So
yeah, it's unfortunate because there should be a big demand to lay her to rest properly.
I agree. And I wonder if it was other circumstances or like a family, a high profile family that had money, would there be more? I always wonder that. So, but we can do what we can do. And what we're doing right now is trying to keep this out there and show you all that the parents are searching. They're doing what they can. There's a memorial coming up tonight, as a matter of fact. And yeah, you guys can get this in the algorithm by hitting the like button and sharing it when you're done here. All right, let's listen to what the dad's looking for.
He looks like he's walking around by himself.
Absolutely. That's another thing.
Not a friend came out to help him. I don't understand it.
Nothing. No crews, no nothing. And he said that too. He said that they're the only ones doing anything. It's heartbreaking, man.
Shame.
I mean, it was the story of the week 3 weeks ago, but now, it's just sad. All right, let's see what he's looking for.
Last night what are you looking for?
Well, I keep there's only 2 body parts left that we haven't found, and I just want to put her to rest properly. I keep having dreams about it, so I just want her to at least rest in peace. And I can't do that until I have her together.
So sad.
They won't even let me see the body parts they have because they said it's evidence. So I'm just trying to do what I can do to find her, hoping she leads me to her. So.
Damn.
Mr. Robinson, just thank you so much for speaking with us today, because I know your heart is breaking and you have been looking through the night out with a flashlight trying to find your daughter.
I noticed Nancy gets real emotional on this case, and I really am glad she's covered in this, because so far She's the one that's mostly been covering this case. Grizzly True Crime.
Nancy.
Yeah, Grizzly has too. Grizzly has a really good timeline, and really good, background information. She always does great work, but she has more of a story than like the breaking news. I love that Nancy's keeping it on the forefront like that. So we appreciate you, Nancy Grace. We don't care what anyone says. All right. She seems to be emotional right now.
Her body parts. I think the closest person in the world to me ever was my dad, Mac. Tell me about Sade in life.
My baby girl was an amazing person. She was full of love. She was a giver. She would give you the shirt off her back. She had a very good heart. She was intelligent. She was a good person to be around. She had so much potential. We talked a lot about our future and what she wanted to do and which direction she wanted to go. But I told her the world is her oyster. She makes that decision to let nobody make it for her.
All right. Well, that was really nice of Nancy to get that interview. It wasn't a long one, which is okay because there's always more to talk about. What do you think about? Hold on, sorry about that. What do you think about that? You saw that one. You sent that to my attention. So, what do you think about what he's looking for?
Yeah, I think it's a shame. I'm definitely gonna. I'll look in this weekend and see if there's some search efforts going on. That I know this morning there was a meetup at near a pump house near where there were some parts found. I didn't get to go to that, but I will look and see if there's more coming up because it sounds like they could use the help. And and that's part of the reason I started my channel. I wanted to do what I can while I'm alive, and bring justice to these victims as best as I can.
Absolutely.
If it means going out looking for little boys like Elijah or looking for body parts, whatever. But
Right.
that's why I started this channel so we could bring justice out here. At least I could try and help.
Right. Well, that's all we can do. That's all we can do is try and be part of the community and be as genuine as we can and do what we can. We don't have the resources that the police have or the media that has, this absorbent amount of of money for PR and all that, but we're doing what we can with what we have. And
that's why we
I think
appreciate
it
all
shows
the
through.
subscribers because you guys help us get the message out.
Yeah, Crime to Remember. I know you have a channel. You're a content creator, and what you say and then what everyone says matters. And that was part of what I was talking about last week, and that's what the community was saying in Milwaukee. That if she was white, they would be on this 24/7. So we don't know because she's not, and we don't want a racial divide in the community while we're looking for her, because then there's going to be less people and they'll back off. So we don't want that at all. But we want to know if Maxwell Anderson has done this before. I want to say hi to Sherry. I'm going to call you Sherry P. If I can't pronounce your last name, I don't want to botch it. Yeah, and I do think that there's no possible way he would have been able to pull this off in the manner that he did. Such a clean cuts and what he, where he cut it and how he did that. This was the first time, unless he was a hunter or something, right?
Yeah, it's but the blood in the house and it not being Sade's, that's kind of telling.
Well, that's another telling thing about that is that his first victim. Are there more victims, and are they going to find out who they are? So, all right, I have another video to play, and we're talking about, could Maxwell Anderson be the next Jeffrey Dahmer? Now, he's not going to get a chance to be, because he's not going to get out with the evidence they have against him. I highly doubt that he's going to walk free to do this to somebody else. But has he done it to somebody like Janiah Walker, who went missing 1 year ago under similar circumstances in that area? All right, let's watch this together, and you guys can tell me what you think in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button and then share this after, so we can see, are there ties to this case? Does anyone know who Janiah is? Are they still looking for her? Why haven't we heard about her a year ago? I never heard about her. It's so unfortunate. All right, I'm gonna put this up, and we'll give credit to Mr. Storybox. All right, let's hit the play button. Oh, I gotta put the sound.
Security camera walking away from her home.
Hold on, I'll start over.
On Thursday, the 23rd of June in 2022, a 15-year-old high school student named Janiah Walker was caught on a security camera walking away from her home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, when she would mysteriously disappear. That day, Janiah's father was supposed to be picking her up, as he had planned to get her a worker's permit to allow the teenager to continue working at a local restaurant called Pizza Shuttle. However, after realizing that she wasn't home, the family would quickly decide to report her missing to the Milwaukee PD, as they began to fear the worst. But strangely, despite their desperate pleas for help, the police...
Now, remember, very similar circumstances. Janiah, Jojo Pashosho, maybe you have heard about Janiah. I have never heard about her. This is the first time. And they're bringing it up.
As well, like Sade.
Exactly. In that area. And younger girl. She was only a couple, if she had her work permit, I mean, she was not even 16 yet, or 16, something like that. I forget. Or no, anywhere between 16 and 18 is a work permit. So either way, she wasn't even 18 yet, folks. And look at how similar looking she is and the circumstances. And nobody's looking at this.
Initially refused to act and rather callously labeled Joniah as a runaway, leaving the family with no other option but to take the case into their own hands. So, after checking security cameras in the local area, it was soon discovered that Joniah had in fact left on her own accord, as she was spotted walking away from her home carrying a large rucksack. But a search of the deleted files on her iPad would also reveal that she was planning to meet an unidentified person that day, which only further escalated the danger surrounding her disappearance. However, there would still be one more twist to the tale, as just a few weeks after going missing, her mother would receive an email from somebody claiming to be Joniah, but the email address was quickly deleted, meaning it could not be tracked. So, given the lack of
Janiah Walker, I believe. Is that what I said? I just looked. It says Janiah Walker. I'll put it in the I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, it's right here. Janiah Walker. So Janiah Walker, similar circumstances, and she's still missing a year later. We're asking the question, could Maxwell Anderson be like Jeffrey Dahmer? We can't find Janiah either.
Concrete evidence and unwillingness from the police to investigate. For almost 2 years, the case remains unsolved, with some people believing she will never be found. But in recent weeks, it would seem that Janiah's case is finding itself back in the headlines due to the recent murder of fellow Pizza Shuttle employee Sade Robinson, as the eerily similar details in their stories has led many to wonder, could these cases be connected by the same suspect? And if not, what really happened to Janiah Walker? Joniah Alexis Walker was born in 2008 to her loving mother Tanisha Howard in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where she enjoyed a happy childhood alongside her close-knit.
Now remember, this Maxwell Anderson is 33 years old, and these young ladies were still teenagers because Sade was only 19 and this little girl was 15. So very similar. And yeah, they
worked at the same place, the same pizza place, Pizza Shuttle. I've been to Pizza Shuttle. It's got really good food.
So isn't that interesting that they both worked at the same place? Two missing teens, both African American, small framed, someone you could easily control if you wanted to as a 32-year-old man back then. Very similar, folks.
Interesting.
So let's hear about her so we can keep her name out there too. Now that we know, I didn't know.
Family. Not too much more is known about her younger years, but what we do know is that Janiah was, by all accounts, an incredibly caring person, with her mother Tanisha also describing her as shy and intelligent, but at the same time very outgoing when she was around her family. However, this rather positive personality would eventually take an extremely negative turn when Janiah suffered a life-changing incident at the age of 11, leaving her with severe depression and PTSD due to the dark nature of the event. In response, her family would go on to do everything they could to try and help Janiah, such as setting her up with a therapist, which she would meet with once a week. But despite their massive efforts to try and put the broken pieces back together, Janiah would continue to deal with her trauma as the years went by, with the teenager finding it difficult to move on as she continuously suffered with dangerously dark thoughts. However, refusing to give up on herself, Janiah was determined to move on from the incident that had haunted her childhood for so long. So, after speaking with her family, the decision was made that she would begin working for a local pizza restaurant named Pizza Shuttle. And after proving herself during the initial trial period, Janiah would be welcomed on board the team. But in order to officially start working at the restaurant, she was notified that she would first need to get a worker's permit from the state, as in Milwaukee, this is a necessary requirement to allow.
Yeah, and that's necessary pretty much everywhere when you're that age. Yeah, she is very gorgeous, beautiful. She looks older than 15. And yeah, it's too eerily similar. So the police haven't really told us much about Maxwell Anderson. I mean, he has a lawyer. He goes to his hearings, and that's about it, right? We don't know too much. But as it comes out, that's what we're trying to do, is bring light to it. And now we know about another young lady that's very similar, worked at the same place. So we know he went there, and isn't that very suspicious?
Very.
And they never found her. She's still missing everybody. So maybe he did that and didn't get caught. And it's like, some people want the notoriety of it. I mean, he probably didn't think they were going to take that that leg and tie it back to him, you know.
He had a grave dug in his backyard too. I think they should check the whole rest of the backyard and see if he dug anything, buried anything years before.
And we don't know what they did. We don't know what they're doing. I think they did check the parents' property as well. Is that correct? I saw something about them saying they checked the parents' property because he was there, but I don't know for sure. We don't know exactly what they've done.
Interesting. Yeah. I haven't heard about the parents' house yet.
Yeah, I saw the parents' house, and they said something about checking a part of it. Maybe they let them, because the parents have money. So I don't know if they lawyered up. We'll let you know as we know. It's just not out there yet. So, all right, let's listen more about Janiah and Sade and how similar these cases are. Same proximity.
15-year-olds to work. So, given the situation, her father had planned to take her during the summer of 2022 with the hopes that she would be able to spend her school holidays doing something productive. However, these plans would unfortunately never come to fruition, as on that fateful day in June, Janiah Walker would mysteriously disappear, never to be seen again. On Thursday, the 23rd of June, the high school student was spending the day at home as she was enjoying the freedom of the school holidays while her mother Tanisha was at work, checking in from time to time. But at some point during the day, Tanisha would receive a strange phone call from her teenage daughter, who would go on to ask some obscure questions about an unknown package that had been delivered to the house. But given that there were no deliveries scheduled for that day, Tanisha was left confused by her line of questioning and assured Joniah that she must have been making a mistake. So, reasonably satisfied, Joniah accepted her mother's explanation, and the pair ended the phone call shortly after, with Tanisha reminding her that her father would be picking her up soon to sort out the worker's permit for her job at Pizza Shuttle. However, despite these plans, it would appear that Joniah had alternative ideas, as when her father would arrive outside the apartment to pick her up, she would fail to answer the door, and after trying to get in touch with her cell phone, it was quickly realized that she was ignoring his calls. So, concerned by Janiah's behavior, her father then called up Tanisha to inform her about the situation and to see if she perhaps knew where Janiah could be. But to his surprise,
there's Janiah, everybody. So if you can afterwards, go type in Janiah Walker on YouTube or on Google, and just keep an eye out. If you see anything, let us know. I'll put my email below. JT, I don't know if he has his set up yet, but if you do, you can put it in chat. We do want to keep an eye on this because a crime to remember. I don't know if the FBI is doing anything. I think they said at the beginning they considered her a runaway. I don't think they're doing anything.
Mm.
That's why we haven't heard anything about it. This is the first time I've even heard about it was today because I was digging into the Sade Robinson case to see what more information, and then I ran across this. So I know as much as you do right now, and we can all learn more together. And thank you for everybody that's subscribing to the crime scene. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Surprise, Tanisha was also completely in the dark as to why their teenage daughter was not answering the door, and after making her own unsuccessful attempt to contact Janiah over the phone, it was immediately established that something was seriously wrong. Tanisha then rushed home from work to see if her daughter was perhaps just asleep or listening to music with her headphones too loud, as it was not normal behavior for Janiah to ignore her parents, especially if they had made important plans. But to her devastation, after arriving home and searching the apartment top to bottom, Tanisha eventually accepted that her daughter was not there, so with nowhere else to turn, she then decided to drive down to the Milwaukee Police Department to officially report her 15-year-old daughter as missing. However, despite the incredibly dangerous situation that was unfolding before their eyes, the officers simply responded by stating that Joniah was likely just a runaway and that there was nothing they could do, leaving Tanisha with no other choice but to take the case into her own hands.
So there it is, folks. They considered her as a runaway, and that's why we haven't heard about it. And I'm really surprised they haven't brought that up anywhere in this new case. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, they should go to the family and see if they could get some DNA samples so they can test that guy's house and rule her in or out, because it is very suspicious, especially them working at the same pizza place, being similar age, similar size, like everything is just kind of.
I mean, they could do a lot. They could check with the families, the parents, the families, and say, have you ever seen this girl around your house? I mean, maybe he had her there for a couple days. Maybe they consider a runaway because she did take off and go hang out with him. Teenagers do that. And then she disappeared. And that's why she's considered a runaway, because she, he if you don't look at him as a monster, he kind of does look like the guy from Sons of Anarchy, Jax. And I saw a lot of selfies of him. He's not a bad looking guy, but we know he's evil now. So yeah, I think they could do more, and I hope somebody I hope this case catches their attention so they can look into it further.
Absolutely.
And on Friday, the 24th of June, Tanisha Howard, alongside the rest of the family, would begin searching the local neighborhood for any signs of the missing teenager, with plans to check surveillance cameras that may have picked up Janiah's movements on the previous day. So instinctively, the first place Tanisha thought to check was the local security cameras outside the apartment complex, as they would have surely picked up the time that Janiah had left their home. And sure enough, after talking to the property manager and asking to see the surveillance video footage, Tanisha was heartbroken to see her 15-year-old daughter leaving the apartment complex alone, with a big rucksack implying that she wasn't.
Yeah, do you see that? She had like a big backpack on, looking like she had packed up to go somewhere.
Like she's running away.
Right. Not only that, this is the exact same way that they found what happened with Sade, because they used cameras to track, and luckily they were able to see Maxwell with her, and then they tied the two together and caught him. So it's very interesting that he happened to get caught on camera, but maybe he just didn't get caught on camera with this one.
Absolutely.
Damn. Man, yeah, I gotta look into this. I hope so. I hope this gets busted wide open and they at least look into it. If I can, I'll look up a crime line later. I'll look up in that area in Milwaukee and see if they're interested in hearing more about and at least looking into it further, because they may not even have that on their radar, and maybe many people called in. But if more people call, they'll take a look at it. Because she does look like she's packing up for the weekend, and that sucks. Maybe she was going and hanging out with him.
Yeah, it could have been, maybe he promised, hey, you can come over by me type thing,
And I think he did use that, oh, my parents are rich thing, because I don't even know where that came up in, other than probably he told other women, yeah, I'm an heir to my parents' fortune, and they look at their house. And a lot of men do that. Men that
I
are
wonder if they've checked all the properties that his parents owned to make sure he wasn't in there doing anything. And because I don't know if they own, how many houses they own, companies they own, if they own storage units.
well, I wonder how much they've lawyered up, though, is the question. If they have money, and once they lawyered up, and if there's no further evidence for the police to have a search warrant or anything, it would have to be under their advisement to say, okay, you can do it willingly. And they may be those parents that cover for their son at all costs. We don't know. I don't even know if he's paying for an attorney or it's a public defender. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if his parents were paying for a good attorney, to be honest with you.
I do know, though, that Maxwell's dad put out a nice statement for Sade's family, so I thought that was at least decent of them.
Yeah, definitely. Although it was nice, but I'm wondering if which angle he's coming, or if it's his attorney saying, hey, put this out there, so it kind of doesn't put you in the spotlight in a bad way. But yes, it was nice. I'm gonna have to dig into it more, because I'm wondering if he has a public defender or the parents are paying for him to get off. That would suck. All right, let's keep going. Let's listen about Janiah Walker. I'll put it in the tags later on so you guys can look too.
In fact, choosing to run away. However, refusing to allow Joniah to walk the streets alone, Tanisha was determined to get her daughter home as soon as possible, and knew the best course of action would be to try speaking to the police again, to see if there was anything they could do with the security footage. But once again, Tanisha was met with a brick wall, as the MPD would explain that they didn't believe this was a missing person case, as Joniah had clearly chosen to leave on her own accord, and therefore, they were not willing to label her as critically missing, which would have more than likely unlocked extra resources and some much-needed media coverage. They also refused to track Janiah's cell phone, as they claimed that they needed a warrant to do such a thing. But after explaining that her father had purchased the cell phone himself, and therefore would happily provide the necessary permission for them to track it, the Milwaukee PD eventually caved and agreed to search the records. It was then discovered that Janiah had last used her cell phone to call her therapist the previous day, but that she had powered her phone down shortly after, so there was unfortunately nothing more they could do. Well, this information understandably worried Tanisha and the rest of Janiah's family, as this implied that she may have been struggling with her mental health around the time of her disappearance. And so, with these implications, the family hoped that the Milwaukee PD would finally upgrade her case to critically missing, especially given her past abuse and subsequent struggles with depression. However, just as before, the police refused to act for reasons unknown, leaving Tanisha bewildered by their attitude and frustrated that they were unable to help her find her vulnerable missing daughter. But despite their lack of assistance, Tanisha and the rest of the family would continue to search for Joniah, and it wouldn't be too much longer before they uncovered a new piece of evidence, which would take this already suspicious case to a whole new level.
Now, real quick, a crime to remember. It says that the county that Maxwell Anderson is just literally Milwaukee County in Wisconsin. It says the Maxwell Anderson. Oh, I didn't even know they had the Maxwell Anderson Hotel is located in Glenwood Springs, but the county is not specified in the search results. So I guess it's just Milwaukee County, if that's what you're looking for, because I don't know a crime to remember. I know you do
it would
crime.
be County.
Yeah, okay. So there it is. It's Milwaukee County. I want to give you guys answers as we go, so that way you can look into it too. Yeah, you say you're going to see if you can get his court records. Thank you. That would be awesome. And if you could send me an email as well, if you get a chance to, if you find those, let me know. Yeah, the more we dig, the more we can help. All right. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of resources on this case at all.
On Monday, the 27th of June, Tanisha Howard was continuing to grow incredibly worried about her teenage daughter, as she had now been missing for over 4 days, having absolutely no contact with her family throughout this time. So, desperate for answers, Tanisha once again attempted to lean on the Milwaukee PD, as she had already exhausted every resource she could in finding her daughter, and was therefore left with very few other options. But to her surprise, this time around, the police were much more receptive to her pleas for help, and agreed to send officers out to the apartment to speak to Tanisha directly, as opposed to just over the phone. However, despite making the trip out to visit Tanisha in person, it would seem that they would not be very interested in sticking around for long, as after just a few minutes of speaking outside the apartment, they suddenly decided to leave without searching the premises or even taking any evidence away with them. According to Tanisha, it was as if they were only showing up to say that they had made the effort, but didn't ever have any real intent to take the case seriously. So after being left frustrated once again by the lack of action displayed by the Milwaukee PD, Tanisha decided to try contacting the FBI to ask for their assistance, as up until now, her local police department were useless to say the least. And to her astonishment, they immediately agreed to look into the case with the understanding that Joniah could have been in serious danger, given the details surrounding her disappearance. The FBI then started their investigation by looking into the suspicious Amazon delivery that Joniah had talked about in the previous week, but upon gaining access to her account, they were troubled to see that the teenager had not made any purchases, and that the large delivery box that arrived that day must have been sent by somebody else. It was then established after looking through Janiah's iPad that she had actually been deleting some messages in the days leading up to her disappearance, which implied that she was meeting somebody that day, and that this suspect could have been the very same person that purchased the Amazon delivery containing the large rucksack she was seen wearing in the surveillance footage. So with this new harrowing piece of information...
There you go, folks. And they're not looking into it right now. So they did try to get the FBI involved, and from what the mother says, they're not doing anything. So maybe just a little poking and prodding will lead them back to, opening at the case or doing something. That's a big piece of information right there, JT.
That is. And if we could figure out whose blood that is, we could get some answers from a lot sooner than we would think.
And if they get it back, sometimes they'll get it back and they'll say, okay, well, we have the blood, and we don't know who to match it to. Now they have more of an opportunity to say, well, does it match to this girl?
Yeah, like specific.
Yeah, a specific person, because sometimes you got it and you get a match, but you don't know, because that person doesn't have a criminal record or whatever, unless it just completely comes back and it's Maxwell's, and then at that point, it's not going to do anything. But you got to have a match also. So, well, let's keep our eye out and see if they.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but if they could get some DNA from this girl and test and see if that is her blood in his house, and if it is, then you would know that she's no longer missing, I guess you could say. I don't know. I think somebody's blood in that house is going to help us bring somebody some closure of what might have happened to somebody who might be missing right now.
Now, we don't even know that they didn't rule it out yet that it wasn't his blood. Is that correct?
They did not rule it out, but the article I read said, why wouldn't they just say it's his blood, nothing to see here, which it still could be, but you would think if that was the case, they would have just said that right away.
Right. But this could help them when they see something like this and say, oh, two girls, same place, same circumstances. Now they have a blood to look at a specific person. Yet missing people aren't in the DNA databases, but they can be tested if you know who you're looking for. And the Amazon package, that if she didn't have money and they would, like, say she didn't have money to buy that and it was a mysterious package, they'll be able to find out where that came from. They just have to look into it. It doesn't seem like they did. So they just have to go back and do a couple little tweaks to this investigation. I bet you they'll be able to find out a bit more.
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to keep watching out for that DNA and crime to remember. If you can find any court information or court records on this case, please do share. All right. Let's keep going.
The FBI then tried to contact the delivery service to see if they could find out who the sender was, but despite their efforts, it would seem that this attempt to trace the delivery would be futile, as according to Tanisha, she would never receive an update from the detectives. So, as the days went by, her hope of seeing Joniah again was starting to dwindle, as it had now been weeks since her disappearance, and therefore, the chances of her daughter's return were growing weaker with each passing day. But just as the case began to grow cold, Tanisha would receive an email that could potentially change everything. On Wednesday, the 17th of August, around 2 months after Joniah's disappearance, her mother, Tanisha, would receive a strange email from a person that was claiming to be Joniah, which explained how she was apparently safe, but didn't want to be found. According to Tanisha, the person writing the email even included details which only Janiah would ever know, leading her to believe that this could have actually been her daughter. However, after taking the email over to the Milwaukee Police Department, she was told that they would not be able to trace the IP of the device that sent the email, and they weren't even interested in noting down the email address itself as potential evidence. So once again, frustrated by the lack of assistance from the police, Tanisha was then forced to call up the FBI to see if they would be willing to look into the suspicious email. But to her astonishment, she would not get a reply. And after searching up the email address herself a few days later, it was discovered that it had since been deleted, meaning there was now no way to trace the owner of the email address. So, despite the massive efforts of a heartbroken mother that had given everything to find her daughter, it would appear that almost 2 years on from the day she disappeared, Janiah Walker still remains a missing person to this day. Now, unfortunately, as far as the official investigation goes, this is all we know for now. But given the recent disappearance and subsequent murder of Sade Robinson, it would appear that Janiah's case has been given a new lease of life, as not only did both girls go missing in the city of Milwaukee, but they both worked for the very same pizza restaurant and disappeared under similar circumstances. However, if you are familiar with Sade's story, then you will already know that if these two cases are connected, then the likelihood of Janiah's safe return would be difficult to conceive. But saying this, with the teenager still being officially listed as missing almost 2 years on from her disappearance, there is still every possibility that Janiah Walker could be alive out there somewhere. So with that, let's get into some of the potential theories.
All right, listen up, folks. We're going to get into some theories right now. We know nothing other than she went missing. We don't know if she went missing and she's still alive. Police didn't take it as seriously as I think that they probably wish they should have now if they're looking into it. And yeah, I'm interested in hearing these. So pay attention because everybody can help. Giselle. All right. Let's play it. I just want to stop and make sure I didn't miss anything.
Now, to kick things off, as I normally do on this channel, I would prefer to start by looking at some of the more positive theories surrounding this case, as until we have concrete evidence that Janiah is no longer with us, I think it would be worth discussing the ways in which she could still be out there. So, is it really possible that Janiah Walker could have simply ran away from home that day, just as the suspicious email stipulated? Well, before we get too hung up on the details of that email, it must be said that just because the email itself claimed to be written by Janiah doesn't mean that this is true. In all honesty, the email could have easily been written by anybody, a local neighbor, a family member who wanted to keep the case alive, or even a potential suspect who had Janiah held hostage at the time. But let's say, for argument's sake, that the email was actually sent by Janiah, and that she really did decide to start a new life somewhere. Surely there had to be somebody with her at the time. We know from the deleted files on her iPad that she was certainly talking to somebody around the time of her disappearance, and given the fact that her rucksack was purchased by an unknown person, this would surely imply that she left with the intention of meeting someone. At this point in the investigation, it has not been revealed if this was a platonic friend or a potential romantic interest, but given the prevalence of online dating in today's society, I wouldn't be surprised if Janiah was planning to meet up with somebody she had met on the internet. Now, I should just clarify that this is nothing more than a theory, but given the lack of police investigation, I feel it would still be useful to ponder this idea for a little while longer, as if Janiah had been meeting up with a stranger from the internet, this could certainly explain why she has not been seen since. Perhaps this could also be the very same person that has been keeping her hidden away for all of this time, and she may not even feel like she's a prisoner. I know.
I mean, that's always a good theory, and I hope that would be the best. That would be the best case scenario, right? She went off with someone, and hopefully they didn't hurt her. She got some boyfriend or whatever. But folks, and thank you, JoJo.
You think someone bought that rucksack for her and that big bag and helped her?
They could have, and that would be a best case scenario for everybody if they did and they just wanted to, maybe it was some guy that was 18 or 19 and didn't want he wanted to be with her but didn't want to get in trouble, and maybe that she's with them and just she ran away from home. We don't know. That's a best case scenario, right?
Yeah, right.
But when you're studying true crime, you know that after the first 42 hours, 42 to 72 hours, it's 24 to 48 for evidence, but 48 to 72 when someone's gone after 3 days, it's more likely that you're going to be bringing a body home than an actual person, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that theory number one's best case scenario. Let's listen to the second theory.
Though this might sound far-fetched, but given her traumatic past and struggles with mental health, it could be possible that Janiah would be impressionable enough to just stay with somebody as long as they made her feel safe. There have been cases where missing young women have decided to move in with their older boyfriends, such as the story of Natasha Ryan, who was a 14-year-old Australian girl that went missing back in 1998, only to be discovered 5 years later at her boyfriend's house. But the real twist to this story was that after being found, she decided to stay with her boyfriend, eventually marrying him and starting a family. So based on this example, I think it would be safe to say that these things really do happen. But before I get too carried away, I am aware that the likelihood of this being the case is very slim in comparison to other theories, especially given the extremely similar details between Janiah's case and the tragic murder of Sade Robinson in recent weeks. So with this in mind, it is unfortunately time to move on to the next theory.
I'm actually glad he brought that up, and somebody that happened to, and she decided to stay, and because that does happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes that sounds like, it sounds far-fetched or whatever, but it happens. So somebody was asking a question about, wait, she has to work. It was on the table. I don't know if you guys were just talking in chat, but yeah, that little girl, she worked. I worked at 16 years old too. She was 15. I loved working and making my own money, so I don't think there was a problem with her working at all. I think she was being a good kid, and I wish that she wasn't missing for this long, and I hope that somebody brings light to this case. So, all right, let's hear what else we think might have happened.
Now, just before I get into it, if you're not familiar with Sade's case, then I highly recommend checking out the video on screen now, as I go into a lot more detail, and I'm sure you will be able to identify even more similarities in their cases that I haven't mentioned here. But just for the sake of context, I will quickly provide a brief rundown of her story. So on Monday the 1st of April, just a few weeks ago, a 19-year-old college student named Sade Robinson was spotted walking along North Commerce Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as she had secretly planned to meet an older man for a date. It is unknown how the two first crossed paths, whether that be through online dating or simply meeting in person somewhere. But either way, she was reported missing later that day by her family after she failed to show up for her scheduled shift at the Pizza Shuttle restaurant. The next morning, Sade's car was found on fire in an alleyway, approximately 2 miles from where she was last.
Did you want to say something, or were you just listening?
Just listening.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to say something. But yeah, this is very, very freaking eerily similar.
It is.
And I would be surprised if they're not looking at it behind the scenes right now, because I've heard a lot of people asking that question. And her mom said, she correlated Dahmer with the case, and which would mean that there are more victims, and we also know that there's more blood, that we don't know whose blood it is.
And the mom's closer to the investigators than we are, so she might have a little info from them that they're maybe looking into more victims.
Absolutely. And I mean, that shows us a clear path that there may be, because of blood and because there was a grave that was already dug, and the cuts that he made. That was just no way. No first-time person is going to do that. Even Jeffrey Dahmer, when he tells his story, he says how hard it was for his first victim and how he had to dispose of the body, that it was, he couldn't do it. He had a hard time. He didn't know what to use. This guy did it like a pro.
Yeah, definitely not his first rodeo.
Absolutely. All right. Let's listen. Oh, sorry.
And then later that same day, a severed human leg was discovered at Warnemont Park by Lake Michigan. The case was then escalated to a possible homicide, and potential suspects were immediately brought in for questioning, including a local man named Maxwell Anderson, after blood was discovered on the stairwell of his home, and it was reported that he may have had contact with Sade in the days building up to her disappearance. And soon after, it was revealed that the blood did in fact belong to Sade, as well as the body parts that had been found scattered all around the city. So with this heartbreaking update in the case, Maxwell is now being held on a $500,000 bail and will be standing before a judge next week for his preliminary hearing to decide if he will be convicted for the crime. Now, it should be said that this murder case is still in its very early stages, so I'm sure there will be a lot more information to come out in the following weeks surrounding Maxwell Anderson and his other potential crimes. But one detail which sticks out to me is the rumor that he may have possessed some kind of torture chamber in his home that very well could have been used in previous crimes. I should say that this is yet to be verified, so please don't take this information as complete truth, at least not until more details are released. But given his supposed crime against Sade, I certainly wouldn't dispute the fact that this could have been something he did before with other potential victims, such as Joniah. It would certainly explain why she hasn't been seen in almost 2 years since her disappearance. After all, Sade and Joniah are of similar complexions and appearance. Both girls were working at
There you go. And I even forgot about that dungeon that he had down there, like the torture or whatever they call it. It could have been
sex dungeon.
Yeah, it could have been a sex dungeon. Yeah, we don't know. I don't remember if they said there was blood down there or not, or maybe they didn't say. Oh boy. The bishop says they're not looking for Sade's body parts, so they're probably not looking for Janiah, which is sad.
Yeah, and that's the pizza shuttle where the girls work. You park underneath there in the parking structure, then you walk up those steps into the restaurant.
Can you tell me, was the bar near that? Was there a bar? Because it looks like a strip.
Yeah, there's bars down there, but
Okay, but it not the bar they went to.
No, not the Dukes isn't on that block or anything. You'd have to drive there.
Okay, so there was Dukes, and then Maxwell worked at that fish place.
The fish place.
Okay, all right. I mean, my StreamYard, I might have to refresh it. Let's play this, but I'll let you know if it goes black, it'll come right back on.
Pizza shuttle at the time of their disappearances and had planned to meet unknown people on those days. Plus, they were also both living within a short distance to where Maxwell lived in Milwaukee. So, if you add all these details together, as well as acknowledging the fact that Maxwell was also a well-known criminal in the area, who had been convicted of several brutal crimes throughout his life, I think there is certainly an argument to be made that his fatal actions towards Sade could have been replicated with multiple other women in recent years. However, for the sake of Janiah's family,
Hey guys, I think she just accidentally left the studio. She'll pop back in here. But yeah, this is
Sorry.
they do seem very similar. Hey, there she is again.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so basically what it was the end of the video anyway. What they were saying is just share it with as many people as you can, and if you're in that area, definitely tip it in. All right. Yeah, sometimes that will happen to you. Don't panic, JT, if that does happen to you. What will happen? Yeah, just hit the reload button and it will bring you right back into it. When I first started, I would panic and I thought everything would just fall apart. Just hit reload and it'll bring you back. So yeah, you still got your background. I don't have mine, that's okay. But I don't think I missed much here. They say hey, Milwaukee, are they processing the house, the yard, the torture? Yeah, torture dungeon, any action? I don't know.
Sure they
Do you know
are.
any of these? Yeah.
I'm sure they are, because they're gonna want to know everything this guy was up to by the time they take him to court, especially because they don't have the full body, and then I think that makes it hard to prove the cause of death.
Right. Yeah, I just wonder how many, properties and so forth, and we'll figure that out as we go. But they have enough to have them behind bars, which is important. Crossing ethnic lines does happen. It's rare. I'm sorry, ethnic. Yeah, though, crossing ethnic lines does happen. It's rare. All right. Did I miss anything? Dahmer mixed it up. Baby. Yeah, so, I mean, all of this comes to two conclusions now. One, that we need to keep looking for Sade and keep it in the light, folks. Keep an eye on the case so we know if there are more victims and we can, bring them home. And then the second thing, now we know about Janiah Walker, which I didn't know, very eerily similar circumstances. And I know you folks love to help. Jojo for Show sends me cases all the time. If you have the ability to call in the Milwaukee tip line, maybe give them a call and tell them about Janiah Walker. Just let them know it's very similar and they may want to look at that case, especially if they're testing the blood. They would have somewhere to look. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's all I have for today. Everyone's life matters. Absolutely. Lord, why not put as much effort in the search? I feel sickened about the priority in ethnic issues. We all are brothers and sisters on this earth. I agree. It should have nothing to do with it, but the world is not perfect and money matters in this world, unfortunately. If you have money, you get better attorneys. If you have money, you have more power. Yeah, all kinds of things. Like go on and on. And then when it comes to race, like racial things, oh, that's a whole other story. But we don't want to cross those lines with this because I want to cover this case and I don't want her family not to want us to because we're not, of that ethnicity. So let's support them. And I see no color either. Thank you. I wanted to say that. Love sees no color. I don't see color in this case. I just see now two beautiful women that are missing.
Yeah, it says, despite not having all her remains, her family is preparing to celebrate her life this Friday, May 10th, which is today, on what would have been her 20th birthday, Sade.
Oh,
So
man.
today, would have been info there.
Yeah, thank you. We'll say it is her birthday today, and we will celebrate her birthday. So today we're celebrating her birthday. She would be 20 today. She did a lot in those 20 years. She was really, truly somebody to look up to for anybody. Anybody. She was doing a great job in life, and yeah, I don't see any color to that. I just see that her parents did the best job with her. She's amazing, right?
Right.
So
She seemed
happy
like an
birthday.
incredible girl. So yes,
She
like you were
did.
saying, happy birthday, Sade Robinson. We'll find
May
you,
she,
girl. Don't worry.
yeah, may she rest in peace. And I do believe that we will find her because I think that Maxwell wants us to. I think he did that on purpose. How where he laid it out, and he's just he's messing with the police definitely. And I think they'll find her. I think they'll find the rest of her parts because he wants them to.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, he didn't put it in a special spot or something. With this guy, you just never know though how dark
You
of a
never do know. I'm just gonna hope they do for because the family seems like they need that for closure. And I put Janiah Walker's name so you guys can spell it right. And I also put it in the description in the video. I changed the title to "Are there more bodies?" And I put hashtag Janiah Walker so you guys can go out and do your own little search on the internet for her and see what you find out.
Absolutely. I love it. Love the work.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, JT from the crime scene. You brought us here today. You brought us all together. I was gonna take a break on Wednesday. I was like, I'm not doing any episodes Thursday or Friday. I'm tired. It was just me being tired and so much coming at me. And then look at me. I did 2 shows today and one yesterday, but I can't I just have so many feelings for these people and these cases that it's hard to shut it off. So I can imagine what the family goes through.
Yeah, yeah. I think the father said in the video he can't sleep. What a shame.
I can imagine, when I first started the Madeline Soto case, I was absolutely not, I was not sleeping right. And I was waking up in sweats until just sweating because I kept thinking, I need to do this. I need to get out there and say this right at the very beginning of that case. And when everything dropped with Maddie and all those charges. So now at least there's some, calmness. We know the trials happening and so forth. So I can only imagine what these people are going through. And sorry, I don't know what happened there. The reporters. One sec.
You're all good. I keep the. You guys ever had a stainless steel straw? Keeps your drink cold.
Yeah, my wife has those. Her and my daughter love those. But yes, crime to remember. You should know more than anything. Got to ground ourselves. And I was very new in the community when that case hit. And now I'm doing much better. But yeah, I understand what the families are going through because I was going through that with that case being so close to my family.
Yeah, that's how it was for the Elijah Vu thing. You go out and, you don't find them, and you kind of beat yourself up about it. You want to help, that's why you go out there and do those things. And, yeah, you want to help bring closure. And when you don't do it, you kind of beat yourself up. And I can only imagine, if someone working the case who's got a big heart, they feel like they kind of let the kid down, and that happens. But we got to just try our best and help each other. That's why we've got these platforms set up so we can all come together and lift each other up.
Yeah, and good people can't help it. They can't help but to be good. And I see how it affects detectives. I see how it affects coroners. I see how it affects the police officers. So we know we're doing what the right thing is. And, unfortunately, good people care. And that's what happens. So I like A Crime to Remember is the ground before and after, and meditate. I meditated yesterday before the show because I have to. Now I'm at the point where I have to, because there's so many things going on with these cases. So be ready, JT.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. All right, folks. I don't know if they own a boat. I'll dig further into that family. And then we'll, on the next show that we do for Sade, we'll have some more answers for you. Vicarious trauma, self-care play. Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready for that. We're going to do a show members only on that as well. But yeah, we'll dig further, and we'll have some more information for them when we come back. I have some background checkers, and I'm doing that right now with one of the cases I'm working on. Somebody asked me to, and I got a whole bunch. It's for the treadmill case. Okay. I dug into Christopher today, and there's a lot of stuff. And now I'm doing 2 background checkers to find out if there's anything I missed. So next treadmill, the treadmill murder case, we're gonna start off with that, just so you know.
Awesome. Justice for Corey, justice for Sade, and happy birthday, Sade. It's her birthday today.
Absolutely. And happy Friday, everybody. You guys have a beautiful weekend. I'm out of here. I'm going to go hang out with the family. Everybody take care. Have a good one. And we'll I know. See you guys. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Take care. Thank you.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?